Hello everybody. So today the top 5 advices from a corporate immigration lawyer when you plan your business in Africa or when you want to do business in Africa. So I'm going to talk about my top 5 advices from an immigration point of view, obviously, because that's what I know what I'm talking about at least. Okay, number 1. Instead of that immigration should be one of the last points on your list, when you think about international transfers, it should be one of your first points on the list. I think that's the first advice I can give. Obviously, it's a dream of any immigration company to have long lead times, but I think there is fundamental advantages for the business as well. So ideally, you should probably identify potential candidates to be transferred in certain countries at an early stage. I would recommend 8 to 9 months lead time. I think that is under the current circumstances, and we videotaping this here in May 2022. I think that's realistic. There are some African countries which are a bit faster, but considering that for most you need to transfer the skills, you need to transfer the international degrees, you need to identify a local understudy, and then the processing times at the authorities are also very long. I think this lead time is realistic. Also, it really opens the path to do it in a proper way, in the normal way, and not pushing for results, because that causes all kinds of problems down the road. And you really want to refrain from that, although that temptation is obviously always given. But long term, I don't see that's a viable option, and I've seen very bad examples of corporates who did do the shortcuts initially and paid a very high price long term. So long lead times and making the immigration at a much earlier point a discussion within your business and within the people who want the international transferees on site. Number 2, I think you need to manage assumptions or not fall prey to certain assumptions, that you manage expectations internally in the business extremely proactive and well. Obviously, a great immigration partner will help HR to manage these expectations with providing the right information, with law updates, practical examples. But I do think that a lot of HR departments sometimes tend to fail to set the right expectations to the business units. They're kind of responsive and not managing expectations actively enough. And when I say manage expectations, I refer to the long lead times. I refer to sometimes, you know the law, but in practice, everything else is different. Additional documents being requested last minute, coming up with new checklists. So all these eventual unforeseen circumstances we're facing in Africa, I think these things needs to be managed, and usually that's where the strong relationship with a good partner comes in. Number 3, advises is probably to find a reliable immigration partner with an outstanding track record and a high number of local expertise. I do think that the years of experience are important, but also the amount of cases being handled. Because in the end, in Africa, a lot really comes down to practical experience and not so much the law experience. And I think there is a real difference between providers. And then a lot of in-country providers are obviously a bit cheaper or more cost-effective, but you will struggle to handle usually if you're doing business in various African countries, all the different providers, because most of them communicate over WhatsApp. Emails is a thing of the past. The information is very, very provided in a piecemeal approach. So you ask 3 questions, 2 get answered, and 1 gets forgotten completely, and another 1 gets half only answered. So these are challenges we face every day, and obviously you eliminate that with really signing on either global or regional firm, which has enough talent and a big enough team to have the experience, but also to have the knowledge to give answers you expect in your time frames, right? And not rely constantly to first go back to the partner in country, wait for 3 days for an answer, which is half an answer, then come back, and you have that ping pong of emails, and you really want to avoid that. So that's number 3. And number 4, would be aware of the high costs. So there's no advice really. I think my advice is only be aware of the very high government costs. I do think a lot of business units internally fall off the chair when you say, okay, it's going to cost $2,000 for the work permit, another $1,000 for the residence, and then the family goes with, so the business sits on $8,000 in government fees alone. And I think the business units needs to be managed and be aware of that. And particular high costs are East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, but also Nigeria and Ghana. Particular cheaper government fees are mostly Southern Africa, and also North Africa actually has low government fees in general. Okay, these were the four, and I think I do think these are the main advisors. I just looked on my list here if I forgot something, but I think this is enough for this video update. You'll find all our other social media links below this YouTube video. Please follow us, and if you have any questions, reach out to us or to me, and we would love to assist you with your corporate immigration in Africa. Bye-bye.